Marianne has a vegetarian breakfast before disrupting the entire town in a crusade to save the trees. Was this supposed to be a Dawn book?
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
This book was written by Ellen Miles. Reginald Fowler is a rich developer who wants to build an office complex in Miller's Park. Marianne doesn't like this idea because she wants to preserve her childhood memories. What? She's 13! She's creating childhood memories! The Babysitters Club decides to stop Fowler by writing angry letters to the newspaper. Their plan is such a huge success it becomes statewide news. The BSC decides to expand the fight by contacting local politicians, making posters, and holding a public debate. Sadly, none of these interesting ideas will be followed up on. They stick with writing letters for the rest of the book. The Martinez family lives in the disputed property. There was a mysterious fire in their garage recently. By huge coincidence, they hire the Babysitters Club. To watch their kids, 3-year-old Amelia and 8-year-old Luke. Luke is very distant, and he gets defensive whenever the fire is mentioned. Clearly, he knows more than he's letting on. Marianne should tell his parents, but she doesn't. They go through the park to confirm it's a beautiful area which should never be destroyed. Luke gets a threatening letter, and he searches Marianne's backpack without permission. Again, Marianne should tell his parents. Amelia accidentally calls Marianne Allie.
Forgetting my name didn't bother me. I've had kids call me everything from Mom to Christy.
Well, that's just awkward. A teenage culprit writes "Don't tell" on the window. Marianne rushes outside and meets the suspects. They are an elderly neighbor named Mr. Fontecchio and Carrie Retland's little brothers, Stig and Benson. Yes, Stig Retland and Benson Retland, those are their actual names. Please note, none of the suspects are teenagers, so they cannot possibly be the teenage culprit. Luke goes missing. Marianne searches the woods and arrives at a vandalized house just in time to see Fowler paying off the culprit. The culprit drops a green brick. Marianne picks it up. When the police arrive, they think they caught the vandal red-handed and attempt to arrest Marianne. Sergeant Johnson comes to her defense. He thinks Marianne is innocent. But there's a problem. She couldn't have seen Fowler at the crime scene. Fowler's wife says he's out of state. Obviously, she would never lie to give her husband an alibi. Over the next few chapters, the culprit pesters Luke some more, and Marianne wastes time worrying about the fake-out suspects. Pretty typical for this mystery series. Dawn says they need to find proof Fowler's a criminal. Because of course he's a criminal. Only a criminal would want to build an office park. Some library research shows that Fowler lies about his birthplace. Every newspaper article about Fowler gives a different birthplace, including Boston, Seattle, and Stony Brook. Dun dun dun! I don't know why Fowler's hiding the fact that he grew up in Stony Brook. Why does he pretend to be from out of town? And why can't he keep his story straight? Seriously, it's not that hard to pick a fake birthplace and stick to it. Don't worry, it gets weirder. The hospital birth records show that Reginald Fowler is actually John Wolfer, and he has a secret twin brother named Samuel. Marianne discovers Samuel is living in the nearby town of Lawrenceville by calling the telephone operator over a dozen times. She uses a different accent each time to disguise her voice. It's pretty funny, but also it's totally out of character for Marianne. Abby babysits the Martinezes. She tries to trick Luke into confessing by making up a game called Secrets. You play the game by confessing your biggest secret. Unsurprisingly, this plan fails. But Abby does discover Allie is the name of their old babysitter. The girls search the garage where the fire was. They find smoke residue on the ceiling, meaning the garage door was closed when the fire first started. They also discover an empty fire extinguisher. I don't understand how the fire department failed to notice these things. Another house is vandalized, and Marianne realizes it's weird the culprit uses green bricks. Bricks aren't normally green. The local paint store says nobody in town has green paint, besides for the Robbins family. Teenager Bo Robbins is the culprit. I've said this before, but it bears repeating. It's a letdown when the culprit in the mystery is a random person who's never appeared before. Bo is dating Allie, the old babysitter. He accidentally started the fire with a cigarette. Ever since then, he's been threatening Luke into keeping quiet. So he's threatening a little kid to cover up his underage smoking. I don't think Bo is a good boyfriend. Fowler saw Bo at the scene of the fire. He is blackmailing Bo into vandalizing houses. There's a slight problem with this explanation. Earlier, Marianne saw Fowler paying Bo off. So Fowler's blackmailing him and paying him at the same time? Bo is scheduled to meet with Fowler tonight. Everyone hides and watches as both Fowler twins arrive. Samuel confesses he's been vandalizing the town in order to save the park. Is it just me, or does that plan make no sense? He's destroying houses in the disputed property so he can save them? How does ruining a house count as saving it? If anything, destroying someone's house will make them more willing to sell the property. It would have made far more sense if he was trying to frame his brother. Samuel is arrested. Luke gives Marianne some blueprints, which show Fowler plans to destroy the entire town and turn it into an industrial complex. For some reason, Fowler left these top-secret plans in a public park where an 8-year-old could find them. Sounds like both Fowler twins are terrible at plotting crimes. When Fowler's secret plans are revealed, the entire town turns on him and the park is saved. Hooray! The end. Post-book follow-up. I did not enjoy this book. The mystery hinges on several illogical elements. Like Marianne suspects non-teenagers are the teenage culprit. The fire department doesn't notice any of the clues at the crime scene. And the guy who's been hiding his real birthplace for decades accidentally slips up without prompting. The mystery is introduced in Chapter 5, which was badly written. It throws way too much information at the readers all at once. The narration briefly changes from small paragraphs to large paragraphs, which are harder to digest, and the next chapter reveals, oh, there was a 30-minute time jump, and that was jarring. Since this is the most critical chapter of the book, I would have recommended a rewrite of it. No need to change what happens in the chapter, just simplify the narration, make it smoother. The real estate subplot is somewhat boring. I'm sure it's more interesting to adults than it is to the book's target audience of grade school kids. Fowler having a secret twin was more weird than successful, and Luke was not interesting enough to deserve being the title character. I give Babysitter's Club Mystery number 24, Marianne and the Silent Witness, a 1 out of 10.